All right, guys, welcome back. Today is your second Istep problem that you're going to be practicing. Okay, today's Istep problem is going to be focusing on volume of rectangular prisms. If you do not have one of these Istep reference sheets, you need to see your teacher about getting one. Okay, if Mrs. Kaufman has not given you one, you need to get one. If you have the chance to be in my room, it is in worksheet number 1 box currently at this time. Okay, however, I will tell you that we are going to be using the following formula. Okay, if you see right there, it says the volume of a right rectangular prism is LWH. Do not, and I repeat, do not use the BH, okay? LWH means length times width times height. So we are going to be using that right now. Okay, so we're going to get a practice problem today, just like the last time. You guys are going to do one with me through this video, and then you're going to do one on your own. You're going to do as much as you possibly can, all right? Be sure that you tell us that it is very important that you show your work. Okay, you may also use your calculator on your computer today or your Istep calculator. I personally prefer you to use your Istep calculator if you have it linked or if you need to go to an agenda to get it. All right, so we're going to get started. I'm moving this month, and I'm using a moving company to help me move my things from Chicago, Illinois to Goshen, Indiana. The moving company provides me with a large shipping container to put my boxes in. The dimensions of the shipping container are 12.5 feet by 5.25 feet by 8 feet. How large is the shipping container? Okay, I'm going to tell you that this tells you that there are 3 different measurements. Anytime you have 3 different measurements, okay, you're probably going to be using volume. Okay, so you want to figure out how big something is. A shipping container is in the size of a cube or a rectangular prism, so you're going to be finding volume. That's how you figure out the size of something like that. So the first thing you need to do is to show some points is you need to show your formula that you're going to use. Volume equals length times width times height. Second thing you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and plug in the numbers. So we have 12.5 times 5.25 times 8. Now, unfortunately, your calculator cannot do fractions. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to rewrite these, and I'm going to change my fractions to decimals. You probably want to do the same thing. So 12.5. 12 is a whole number, so it's 12, and a half is 0.5. So it's going to be 12.5 times 5, and 1/4 is 0.25, times 8. So you're going to go ahead and do that. Then you're going to use your calculator, and you're going to multiply those 3 things together. So I'm going to do the same thing. Pause the video if you need to. Go ahead and multiply those 2 things together, or those 3 things together. And you should have gotten a volume of 525. Okay, so that's what you should have gotten as your answer. Now we need to label it because it's volume. Okay, and these are feet, so it's going to be feet, and because it's volume, it is cubed. So your volume of that rectangular prism is 525 feet cubed. That's how big your shipping container is. That's part A. Make sure you show your work in part A. Let's move on to part number B. Okay, so part B. The moving company provides me with cubed shape boxes with a side length of 2.5 feet. How many of the boxes can fit in the shipping container? Now, once again, this says it's a cube. So if you think about it, a cube looks like this. Okay, and this is really kind of an ugly drawing, but those are cubes. So we want to know how many of those are going to fit in our giant shipping container that's like this. Okay, so we want to figure out how many is going to go in there. So we have to find out how big that cube is. Now it says it's 2.5 feet. Well, it says side length of 2.5 feet. That means each part of that cube, each side is 2.5 feet. So 2.5 times 2.5 and 2.5. So we need to find the volume of that as well. Okay? So if we're going to find the volume of that as well, we need to go ahead and show the volume. So we're going to use, once again, our formula. Rewrite our formula. Volume equals length times width times height. Next thing it needs to do is we're going to plug in our numbers. Now, I'm going to change these to decimals. 2.5 is just 2.5 times 2.5 times 2.5. Okay, and if you do that, use your calculator, do 2.5 times 2.5 times 2.5. Go ahead. If you need to pause the video, go ahead. You should get an answer of 15 and 625 thousandths. So that's how big the cube is. But once again, it's feet, so it's feet cubed. So this is how big the box is, okay? Or our little boxes. But we need to figure out how many, and it says how many of the boxes can fit in the shipping container. So if you remember, our shipping container, if you look above on your worksheet, was 525. So here's the shipping container. It was 525 cubic feet. So we need to figure out how many little boxes go into the big box. And you're going to do that simply by dividing. So you're going to go ahead and put in 525, and you're going to divide that by 15.625. Okay, and if you do that on your calculator, once again, if you need to pause the video, go ahead. But go ahead and put in 525 and divide that by 15.625, and you're going to get an answer of 33.6. Now, this is boxes, so let me ask you, can you have 0.6 of a box? If somebody says, hey, here's my box, and you can only have 0.6 of it, are you going to put 0.6 in the car? What are you going to do, cut it in half and all the stuff fall out all over the floor? That's not going to work. So in this particular case, because you have to figure out how many of these boxes fit in the shipping container, you can only do 33 boxes. So your answer should be 33 boxes. Okay? That's your answer. Now, we also have part C, and that's where it's going to get tricky. So part C is always the hardest part, so let's move on. No, remember, we have 33 boxes. Let's move on. Okay. These were the rates of the shipping company. So not only did I have to figure out how many boxes and stuff, but the shipping company is charging me. So for every mile the shipping company drove with the shipping container, the company charges 75 cents for every mile. So that means 75 cents for every mile. Okay, so we know that. So for every box used that was provided by the shipping company, the company charges $1.99. All right, and the shipping company also charges a flat rate of $40 an hour for the driver. So let's look at this. It says if it took the driver 2 hours to drive 95 miles, how much did I pay the shipping company? So let's start with bullet number 1. I always like to do bullet number 1. It says for each mile, they charge 75 cents. Well, they went 95 miles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write distance, okay, because that's what I'm figuring out. So we went 95 miles, and we're going to multiply that by 75 cents because it's 75 cents per mile. Go ahead and do that in your calculator, okay? If you do, you're going to take 95 times 0.75, and you're going to get that cost $71.25. Okay, so it's $71.25 for the distance it went. Let's choose number 2 now. Let's go to bullet number 2. For every box used that was provided by the shipping company, the company charges $1.99. So boxes, we need to figure out how much we spent on the boxes. Remember, it was $1.99, but how many boxes did we use? Well, you have to look in part B. We used 33 boxes because that's how many fit. So you need to do $1.99 times 33, and you're going to find out that that cost you a whole $65.67. Okay, not bad. Now, we also need to do the third bullet. The shipping company also charged a flat rate of $40 an hour. So we know it's $40 an hour. Okay, so we're going to say, what is this? We're going to use this as the driver because it's per hour. So what do we got? $40. And how many hours did it go? Oh, it took 2 hours. So 40 times 2, we don't even need a calculator. That's 80. All right, so we've got some money. All 3 of these money you had to put together. So we need to add $80, plus we need to add $65.67. Remember, when you add decimals, you need to have the decimal place lined up. And 71.25. Okay, add your zeros. You can go ahead and use a calculator because you have it. You should have it. Use it. So $80 plus $65.67 plus 71.25, and you should get a whole total of $216.92. And that's how much you was charged by the shipping company. Lots of work. That's problem C. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the video. Less than 10 minutes. Hopefully you calculated those, you showed your work, you labeled everything like I did. Now it's your turn to try one on your own. You need to go to the back side of this piece of paper and try this one on your own. Make sure you show your work. Make sure that if you're in Mrs. Kaufman's class, please know that she will be getting this work. If you're in my class, I'm going to get this work. Ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful afternoon. I'm out.